as I understand it, correct me if I'm wrong, there's not going to be a guarantee at all this year on the main event.
Yeah, there is not going to be a guarantee because we have elected to do something else instead of the guarantee. So last year we put a guarantee and we said if something happens, we will stand up and live up to our obligations. And that, that was a hefty number. That was $2.4 million. This year, we're electing to give value to the festival and to the players through a much more direct way. Before we didn't know. Maybe we lose $100,000. Maybe we lose $1 million. Maybe $2 million. Maybe it's $3 million. We are doing a $5 million free roll in conjunction with our promotion of a project that we're calling Project Gold, the WPT Gold, and it's this hasn't been done before. We're also putting it at a level that is high, and we'll get into this in a moment. But we really do feel that the championship has the momentum. It's the players that made the championship, right? I mean, it's the players made the championship. They did bring the numbers up 40% more last year for the championship, 100% for the prime. And so we feel like the championship is in good hands. What we're trying to do is continue to do things that are innovative. We're not trying to do any kind of formulaic system. As you know, right after we did the championship, then we did the WPT Voyage. I don't think anybody had seen anything like that either. Here we're taking an entire cruise ship. For that, a lot of people didn't know what it was, only to find out, my gosh, this may have been one of the greatest poker events of all time. For people who got to enjoy that. But it's not that we're trying to say, oh, we have to do this and then we have to do it again. We are trying to surprise and delight. And that is a big component to that. So yes, we are announcing this. It's a $5 million guarantee. And first place in this free roll is going to take home $1 million. So, I mean, that's $1 million. That's larger than most, the historic free rolls that have been out there. So this is it. We're going to be putting that. There's also going to be a lot more promotions and extra things that are going to happen and that the players are going to find out more about in the months to come and at the championship as well.
With that, if you were elevator pitching this to somebody who was expecting you to come out with a big guarantee, I was expecting, maybe 30 again, and to hear none, convince me in an elevator that this is a good thing.
Yeah. So people have come, the players have decided that this is the premier winter event. They've decided that playing at the Wynn, the conditions that the experience is second to none. And so what this is doing is injecting a lot of value. And by the way, a lot of people are going to be able to participate throughout the festival that would otherwise not be able to be there. And that's one of the things we're committed to. I said that last year when we missed the guarantee. We're committed to the ecology of poker, bringing people in. We know all of us are hungering for that. You're not going to do that in any better way than having this $5 million guarantee, being able to do that. In addition to that, you're going to have a lot of support. I mean, 100 players just from the $5 million of that $5 million guarantee, 100 of those seats will go directly into the championship. Plus, we have qualifiers, from Club WPT and WPT Gold, and we're talking about 1,000 qualifiers, right? We're talking about numbers that the World Poker Tour historically did not see. In fact, it used to be the bane of my existence that the World Poker Tour never got the large qualifiers. So the championship is in good hands. It's in good hands. The players have made it. It is prestigious. It is the most prestigious event. But the festival is going to be filled with enthusiasm, and it's also going to be, quite frankly, this promotion that's connecting it to it, the WPT Gold, that is what we're calling Project Gold, is because we're bringing, we're promoting a safe alternative to poker here in the United States. And so what this is going to allow us to do is get lots of feedback from players. The idea is to make this community based, and so starting in December, there'll be some people who get to see parts of the site, but more importantly, this is about feedback. So players, by just being aware of it and signing up, and also to getting the feedback, are going to be able to participate in this in ways that other people haven't and before, and so we're very excited about it.
And if I understand it correctly, nobody can buy into the free roll, right? I mean, it is you have to win your way into one way or another. And I know a lot of it's going to be going through WPT Global. Will there be ways outside of WPT Global for people to win their way in, or will it only be through that mechanism?
Yeah, so it's WPT Gold so what you need to do is you need to sign up. Just sign up on WPT. There's so many benefits and things of just signing up. So people sign up at WPT Gold. It's just a preset. There's nothing to go. There's no playing right now or anything else. All you want to do is you want everybody to get their name in there, because we are going to have so many premiums and positive things for people who are signed up. What you're going to see over the next few months are promotions through ambassadors and influencers who are having contests, and the only predicate is that you're just signed up. So if you're signed up, they will be giving away, there will be a lot of seats, a couple thousand seats that are coming into this, and plenty of chances to win. And as I said before, what I'm really excited about is you're going to see a lot of people. You're going to have a mix of people in here who are going to, because there's no reason not to sign up. It takes a moment. It takes a couple minutes of your time, and the value that you're going to get from this is tremendous. But it is going to result in a really diverse group of people who are going to be able to play and come to the win and have that experience, and they're going to fill up all the other events, and it's just going to be a tailwind for for the other events as well. And I will say this: the other thing is that the promotional, once again, our partner at the Wynn Resort is so incredible in this. I mean, the entire event is made for people to come in. If you come in and you win, you're going to have a great time. But even if you're coming from another place, you're just coming to play, the idea that you can get a room rate at the Wynn, probably cheaper than your meal, is at a Vegas restaurant, is just phenomenal. So yeah, I think all the way around, it's our purpose is to make sure that we're creating the best player environment, period.
I heard you say 1,000. I heard you say 2,000, and regardless of where it lands in between there, like having been a part of something like this in the past, that's a hard thing to do in a short period of time, is to award that many seats. When I did it, it was 350 seats over the course of 6-7 months, and that was a chore. So how in the world do you expect to be able to get that done in 2.5 months?
Yes. Well, the answer is you're going to see a lot of promotions. You're going to see a lot of influence. You're going to see a lot of ambassadors, and you're going to see lots of opportunities to win. And yes, I mean, somebody said today that it's basically about giving about a seat an hour, right. between now and then. So you're absolutely right. I mean, I think you hit on it. But it also just goes to the fact that a lot of people are going to be able to have a chance to win.
Yeah. Some people that I know suggested to me that like big guarantees are for your pros. They're for the people who are established in the community, and they're coming for the value, right? And that big promotions are for recreational players. People more like me, or young people who are just coming up in the game. Is that true, and is that part of the strategy that you're working with here?
Well, I mean, I certainly think that this helps us with our objective to grow the ecology, because I mean, any poker player would say, "Gosh, if I had one concern about the health of the industry going forward, is this the fresh new players and the recreational player that's coming in." So this is going to be a bonanza for that. I mean, this is terrific. but because of the value that's getting in it, you're going to get pros and you're going to get amateurs and you're going to get people who've done it for the first time. You're going to have a mix of people, but everybody likes it. I mean, everybody, we love to see new players coming in, and obviously the pros like to see it, but there are people, I mean, what I always loved about our Club WPT clientele is you'd think that when they win a seat, and so many of them we've sent in, and they win a seat at the championship, and you think they'd be just daunted by the fact that they're in a field where Phil Ivey is sitting there. Somebody, no, they love it. They love it. They're coming in with stories and stuff. Now add to that a massive free roll, and you're going to come in and have a phenomenal experience. And there's going to be a lot of extra promotions and things that are given away just because you took a few minutes and signed up. This is going to be good for everyone. It will be very good for everyone. And the way that I would say it is that last year we said that if we failed, we would step up and we would do it, and that led to 2.4. Here, it is a minimum of $5 million. I mean, there's other things that are coming as well, but you'll see that coming out. So that's just the free roll itself.
Yeah, and I mean, as I was thinking about this, I thought, okay, it's costing basically almost twice what it did last year. Yeah, some people will suggest, I think, that this, there's been ownership changes in the past few years at the WPT, and the online component is a part of the company. You're a TV company, but you're also an online poker company. There's all kinds of, and I know they're all different, parts of the company. And without getting into the, all the different paperwork on it, how much of the decision making was put into the idea that you can promote this WPT Gold product very, very well through a $5 million free roll?
Oh, I mean, it's at least $5 million of thought, but no, I think it's a lot more than that in thought, because if you think about it, that's just the hard money, that a wire that we need to send. In addition, we are giving a bunch of prizes and other things that are going to come, and I mean, it's just going to be. You will not want to not be at the win during this time. So it is an enormous bet, but. I said it last year that we were part of the putting a guarantee. And the guarantee is an interesting thing. You put a guarantee, you might not have to pay a dime, right? I mean, it might just work because it's everybody shows up and it's fine. But by putting that guarantee, you're essentially putting the foundations for a franchise. This is not a dollar for dollar exchange. It's not like you're doing a marketing initiative and then you say, I put in $5 and I get 10 and whatever the result. You are building something, and it is very important that as Project Gold develops and feedback is given, we want the entire community to come and say, no, we want to be a part of that. We want to tell you what we want. This is how we want to see things played out. And you could do that in many ways. But there's no better way than excite the community and make them know, and then make them want to participate, because then they will participate. So it is the biggest thing we've ever done. It is absolutely the biggest thing we've ever done in 22 years of the World Poker Tour. And we're delighted to do it. And I'm thinking that, what I think is that this is going to have long-term ramifications on what we're able to do in the future, but also this festival, for years to come.
And do you think your established pro group is going to be happy? Or at least content, not knowing that the big number is guaranteed, and just hoping that this draws enough interest, and that the extra 100 seats are going to be full of people who are perhaps not as experienced?
Well, I mean, and to be fair, I think some of those people who will win their seat into that some will be experienced, some will not be experienced, but you're going to have a lot of people filling the festival. And you know what the number one contributor to the championship is? The events before. It is the events before. And so what we want to do is make sure that the entire festival has that enthusiasm, and that. So ultimately, the players, the players have established the championship, as a premium winter event, and a chance to become a WPT champion. I mean, it is, at the end of the day, to be a WPT champion, that is where you will do it, and it will be, and it has all the prestige. It's a TV final table. We'll have it streamed. All of those things are going to be there. That nothing is going to be taken away. But what is going to happen is that not only the 100 seats, but you're just going to have a lot more people there, and a lot more and quite frankly, some people are just going to be there and have a lot more ability to do things because you have a free roll going on as well.
All right. So I know, I mean, and as well, I'm sure you and your team have talked about it. They're just like last year when you walked out of the media room and people were poking fun at you. There's going to be somebody, the moment this news breaks, that says the WPT just waved the white flag. We surrender. Just go ahead and respond to that, because someone's going to say it, and I want a quote from you responding to it right now.
Yeah. So look, the WPT has been trying to write its own narrative. It's funny because I say it, and I do think people maybe think that that's the political spin, but we did a big guarantee, and it was established before. I mean, it was established in February. I mean, we were talking about this. We did a cruise where we rented entire Virgin cruise ship, a Virgin voyage. It just hasn't been done before. We're not trying to. In the short term, you may feel like maybe what you took so many handful of players one place or the other. But what we want to do is continue to go with this narrative, that something that I think that the players understand, that the WPT is trying, that they really are committed to giving back to the players and to giving back to the community, and they will continue to do what they have. I mean, this is not going to cost us $5 million. It's going to cost us many more millions of dollars because of the promotions and the other giveaways and the things that are coming into it. So what I get to sleep well at night is to know every one of those dollars is going to be received by a player, by somebody who's come back and who's participated in this. And just like I was perfectly fine that $2.4 million went to that, but I will say $2.4 million went to a select group of people that were playing in the championship. Now it's getting spread out, and everybody is benefiting from this, and we can do it because, as you said, we do have these partnerships, and we want to use these. We want to do anything that we can. We have to have a business model that works, but we want to do everything that we can to make this the best experience for players that possibly can be.
Well, I intend to be there. I've been to the last two, and but I also probably will be stalking you during that time, like I did the last couple of years. And so I'm curious, as I sit off in the corner, like, what version of you am I going to see when I'm there? Because I've seen different versions in different places, and they all look basically the same. But I'm starting to get to know your face a little bit. So, what version am I going to see this year?
No, I think what you're going to see, that's a good question, because it goes to what is it that I'm concerned about, right? What is it that I'm concerned about? Ultimately, the players have made this event what it is. It has momentum. And if you've played at the Wynn, I mean, there's just you're not going to have a better player experience. And look at what Ryan has done and all of that. It's great. But what I want to make sure is that we do get the community into this WPT Gold project, so we do get feedback. It is something that we absolutely do want. We want to hear what people have to say, what they're looking for. The WPT brand has brought sweepstakes poker with Club WPT for 15, 16 years. As we go into this new phase, we want feedback from community. So I want to walk down those halls, and I want people to feel like they're part of a community and we're welcoming them. They're being welcomed in, and that we're having an exchange, because that's what's built the WPT over the years. And I think that the one thing that WPT does get credit for, sometimes we don't get credit for things, but we do get credit for, is that it is listening to players. You're not going to make players happy all the time. You're right. Somebody is going to, I assure you, someone is going to say, that's an insane decision. I would have absolutely done this instead of doing this. And I don't mind that. I mean, maybe it is. Maybe we've made the wrong decision. But what I am comfortable with is we are making a decision that's good for the ecology of poker and will get the attention of people to help them help us make a better poker experience, both online and at the championship and at the festival going forward.
I know you're probably not going to answer this question. I have to ask it anyway. Do you have a target? I mean, in terms of what you think that prize pool is going to be for the championship this year?
I will not answer the question, but I'm gonna focus on making sure that we have all of those components before to make sure that event is as prestigious and as great as it possibly can be.
All right. Well, that was all I had for you. People are going to say I've gone too easy on you, but honestly, I think that, when it comes down to it, you're going to hear the community response one way or the other. And I don't know what they're going to say, and I can't speak for them. I've tried to ask you a few questions that I expect will come up, or comments that I would expect, but I don't have anything else unless you do.
Well, look, I'll be hard on myself, and I will say something that normally doesn't happen in an interview. I know some people will go, "Oh, you made the wrong decision." It's okay. I mean, that's fine. When we stop trying to innovate, we have so much resource that we can put into things, right? And this is an extraordinary chance. Because there is a promotion of something going on, we have an extraordinary chance to inject a tremendous amount of value into this community. Full stop. And I don't know how many times you get those chances, but I know when you get the chances, you need to take it. Now, some people will say, you took it at the wrong time, or you should have split it, or we got it. But we're going to do it, and we feel like this is, we've made our decision, and we're really proud that we're going to be able to do this for players. And I think at the end of the day, people are going to sit back and go, that is an experience that we have never seen before. And that's what we want. I mean, that's ultimately what we want, is people, we have right now limited space and time and everything else, and maybe that continues to expand in the future. But what we know for a fact from the last couple of years is if we do things right, players come back and say, you know what, these guys tried something else again. They did deliver something extraordinary. Not everything was perfect, but that was, we really feel it, and we feel that the experience is of world class and gold standard, and that's what we want.
Adam, don't try to pretend like you remember this, because you probably don't. But first time I met you was 2014 at the PokerORG, and I sidled up behind you at the bar and introduced myself. I remember thinking, this guy's a freaking star, and I've been in the business almost as long as you had at that point. But that was 10 years ago, I think.
Well, kind of you. I just feel like, and I'm sure you do too, those of us who are the industry veterans here, that it just, it's the same people, but we just keep reliving lives over and over and over again. So it's been a fun journey, and I know it's been fun for you. And 21 years for me, and it's certainly been a fun ride.
Certainly has. Well, listen, I mean, I feel like, for the past few years, this part of the year, this fall, as we lead up to December, had to have been the most stressful time for you of all year. I mean, am I right about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. There's always something to be stressed about, but we started working on the championship, and I said this last year too. We started working on the championship. I think we give ourselves about 2 weeks off, and you have this feeling of this elation, and you've finished, and you've done something to contribute. And then suddenly you go, well, you got to do something new, right? And then you get that feeling, it's like, what am I going to do? And so I don't know. It's kind of, on one hand, the earlier part of the year, you're sitting there trying to brainstorm, trying to reimagine things. The second part of the year is far more functional. And so that has the rushing and trying to fit everything in and the execution. So they all have their own unique characteristics.
Yeah, not to bring up a sad thing, but I do know that if I remember right, it was about this time last year you lost your mom. And I
Yeah.
remember feeling for you a lot at the time because if what I've heard is correct, she was a gigantic influence on your life.
Yeah, my mom was wonderful, and she's she'll always have yeah, a positive impact on me. It was around this time, and I got to tell you, this is when you realize, as much as poker is a business, it's a community. I heard so many wonderful, nice things from people, and people who showed up at the service, and through this year, I've talked to a few other people who've lost parents as well, and it's nice. I mean, as I said, this is when you realize that the poker community down deep is a community, and it's nice to have that support.
I got some of that feeling. We were at the awards, the honors award dinner, and I saw you
Yeah,
introducing everybody during the honors awards dinner, and it made me think. Unlike a lot of companies that I've been a part of, the WPT was like a big family, and that was really
yeah.
something you got across then. And it feels like you've continued that throughout the course of the last 21 years.
Yeah, I mean, we really believe that. Although I will give this caveat, which is, oftentimes when I say family, what I tell people when they're coming in new, we really mean it like the family, not necessarily like the big corporation family. Um, that means, there are times in your life you're not going to be at your best, and it's great to have the support. But it's the time when you can have somebody who can be very honest with you, and have those tough conversations, because that you're safe. And I do think that promotes the best out of people. If you look at this as a marathon and not a sprint, I was just watching some content today about one of the major companies who was so proud about bragging about how quickly that they can get rid of people on their team if they're not performing fast enough. And I mean, honestly, you would have, if you did that at any given time, you might have taken out some of the most brilliant contributors to our business and to poker, because of that. But if you make an environment where people feel safe and feel nurtured, and they want to be here, they'll just give their best. And that's what we try to do. We have a lot of people who have been here for 17, 18 years, some 20 years. To me, I think it's a positive sign, and I'm just grateful that we've been able to attract the talent.
Yeah, I got a lot of that feeling a couple of years ago at the Win when you guys busted the guarantee by almost twice what it was supposed to be. And I remember thinking that the WPT had just done something different. You had changed the game. Take me back to that year, 2 years ago, when everything was blowing up and it looked like everything was going to be amazing forever.
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, you're promoting something that you can have high expectations, but you don't know until you know, right? I mean, I would love to look back and tell you I was confident the entire time, but I was stressing until that last moment. And you really, we know the people in the community, we know them well. We don't want to disappoint them, and their words and their comments and their feedback, it actually matters. We do things that sometimes are controversial, or sometimes are, they'll take people by surprise. That's okay. Because I do think the community gives us a lot of credit for trying things and trying to innovate, but you still don't want to disappoint. And so when that happened, that was great. And of course, we imagined you're at the Win, right? I mean, you're at one of the greatest properties in the world. If you were just there, not even during a festival, but to go there, play poker, and enjoy, you would enjoy yourself. We put that in the focus that we've been able to put on. Um, we believe that this was the right thing, but you never know until players show up, and I'm happy they did.
Yeah. And I fast forward like a year though, and all of a sudden, it felt at the time like the WSOP decided to counter program against you guys, and you guys came out with an even bigger thing, and like I don't know. Obviously, you probably wouldn't frame it in that way. I know that we in the media will, but regardless, I mean, can you take me back to that moment at least that you heard the WSOP was going to do something different at the same time that you guys were holding your biggest event of the year?
Yeah, I mean, I do remember them announcing, and you remember there were some humorous things that were going online and stuff. But I've been around a long time, you know. I mean, at the end of the day, we're all going to look back 20, 30 years from now, and we're all going to be like, God, we're so happy that we were in this business. You know, I was a lawyer, and I worked for a wonderful law firm. But, you know, getting up every day and going into the office and sitting there and doing the work is a much different experience than being able to participate in poker. So when you get it, you know, it's a double-edged sword. I mean, at the moment, you know, you immediately feel like you're in the competitive mode, and what are you going to do, and how does this work? But at the same time, you realize, you know, Lyle Berman, who was the original funder of the World Poker Tour, one of the founders of the World Poker Tour, he has a sign in his office that I'm not going to try to quote it exactly, but it just references complacency. That, you know, any partner that you work with will eventually drift into complacency unless they're pushed. Basically, that's what it is. And we've all done that. I mean, years ago, I used to say when people, you know, when we were owned by Party, and people would say, "Oh, you know, well, you know, PokerStars is doing this or X, Y, Z." I mean, think about it. It all just propelled us further. I mean, at the end of the day, players are benefiting because people are, you know, we're all sitting there on our toes, and, you know, we can't afford to sit back, and World Poker Tour is not going to sit back.
Yeah. You know, at the same time, you know, you guys did come with the $40 million guarantee then. I mean, and that was a bigger splash. It made a huge noise. So, I mean, there was some competition there. There had to have been to make that big a guarantee.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, the other thing that I think is important to look at is that I have this, maybe this is me, but I just have this big fear, is that when you do something, you know, I came from an entertainment background, you do something, you know, you very much worry that year two has all of the expectations of year one and more, but you don't get to have as much shock factor. And so, you know, yes, last year was very, it took a lot of mental thought, because, you know, before the event, because you sit there and you're like, okay, now you don't have the wow factor where people go, wow, this is a great place to play and everything else. Now it's somewhat taken for granted. But you need to continue to show that you're pushing the boundaries. And so it was definitely, you know, at the heart of it. The other thing, you know, from a timeline perspective, I can tell you when we were talking about the guarantee happened in February, because I know exactly where I was, and I know where, and that was a debate that went on for months and months, and including with, you know, and a collaboration with our partner at Win. So it'd been there early on, but it really, you know, ultimately was a factor of how do you continue to surprise and enthuse your customer base.
Well, I mean, I think everybody was surprised when you announced the 40 million. And I'll admit, I sort of stalked you on those days, those day one flights of last year. And because I like to watch your face, and you're very good at maintaining a poker face, but like I stalked you throughout those days, watching to see like if you were stressed or not. And like a couple of times I'm like, well, his face looks different, but I'm not sure. I mean, was there stress in those day one flights, if only because money aside, the expectation that they might hit 40 million?
Oh yeah. I mean, you know, maybe there's a different word other than stress that I'm not thinking of right now, but it is, you want to be your best, right? And you want the best outcomes. I mean, if we didn't, we shouldn't be here. But it is the feeling, you know, early on, I said in the first interview that I did about the championship that we're making a stretch goal, and if we don't make it, you know, we could end up, you know, having to, you know, put up a significant amount of money. I don't know. I think some people thought that there was some ace in the hole, or we're just doing some marketing thing or whatever it is. So when that happened, I mean, to me, the biggest memory of that is about 1 o'clock on the last day. I could tell that there's significant, chance that this could happen. And so I'm calling people to let them know. And then at some point, I go to Lance Bradley, who's just done such a great job in the industry and then for us. And I said, let's just get everyone together. Let's just get the press together and just we didn't plan. We didn't have talking points. We didn't, because it's everybody knows. And there's something so freeing about just putting yourself out there with your goal and just saying, hey, it's going to be what it is. And look, ultimately we were proud. The prime was up 100%. The championship was up 40%. But in those moments, you want credibility, right? And you want to be able to say it's up, but you don't need spin. I mean, you do this for a living. You can tell spin, and it was just great. I just thought that the response, nobody wants to lose $2.4 million, but the response that we received from it, money couldn't have bought it.
Did you listen at all? Because I mean, you weren't even out of the room before there were people. I'll say on the other side, however you want to frame it, poking fun about missing the guarantee. I mean, were you able to just ignore that? I think I'd be mad.
Oh yeah, I mean, you know what? If you ever doubt that, there's a wonderful. It's written like a poem, but it's a wonderful speech. It was given by Theodore Roosevelt called "The Man in the Arena," and basically it says, it's the person who gets out there and tries and gets themselves dirty and sweaty and bloody, and maybe they fail and they stand up again. That's what we're doing. I mean, and if I could impart one thing to my team, is like, this is a marathon. Like, we're trying to be the best all of the time, and self-improvement. So that comes with it. I mean, a lot of it is good fun. I mean, it's just, you can't take it that seriously. And at the end of the day, we're all going to have a drink at a bar. So it's okay.